If you're wondering how I can see outside of this mask, see, that's the funny thing. I can't. I'm trying very hard to get this all to stay in place. It is not working in my favor, so if anything looks off, I'm sorry. Happy Smelloween, gamers, and welcome back to King Exbee's mandatory yearly Halloween special, which I have been doing for 1 year. Last year I talked about a shitty horror movie, and while I was going to do that again for this year, I figured I would talk about something a little bit more up my alley now. Cryptids. Cryptids are funny little creatures that nobody is capable of proving the existence of. Lots of cultural horror figures, such as demons and monsters, honestly don't really fit too well within this description. You know, shit like Krampus, or the Croatian art demon who draws pictures of you dressed as a cat if you don't upload for a month, or your 7th grade gym coach. Those don't really count because most of the time the people presenting them are not trying to get you to think that they're real, you know? They're spooky fairy tales that you tell to children. Respect your parents or Krampus will fucking eat you. They don't have that Bigfoot or Loch Ness monster energy where people are constantly trying to prove that they exist, and that's true for, quite frankly, almost every single culture. Put a picture that perfectly put Goku on the Mexican flag on screen. Guys, this costume is not on my side. It is fighting me. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do happen to be a Nacho Taco American, 2nd generation, which means I know all about the cultural demons and monsters. First one that comes to mind is La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, or El Cucuy, the Mexican boogeyman. Neither of these are things that people actually actively try to prove are real. Again, it's that whole scared straight ordeal, you know? Be a good kid or La Llorona will fucking drown you in a river. But there is one piece of Mexican folklore that slots into that cryptid nature perfectly. One people are very convinced is real, and one that people are actively trying to prove is real at every single given opportunity. And that creature is La Chupacabra. Today we will be talking about the close second Duendes. Duendes are magical little elves that do whatever the story being told at this exact moment needs them to do. All you gotta do is pop that magical little phrase "Duendes caught on camera" into the YouTube search bar, and you are just met with a plethora of just beautiful results. This is my favorite one right here.
Mañana vamos contra el Atlético de Madrid. ¿Para qué la avientas?
But anyways, the Duendes, much like every other Mexican folklore creature, are treated as if they are very, very, very real. If you're a Mexican, go ask your parents right now if they have any stories about crossing paths with Duendes or relatives crossing paths with Duendes. I guarantee you they have a story. And as a result of this, since the internet's creation, essentially, Duendes sightings have been documented. You don't believe me? Well, that video I showed you of the Star Wars Jawa running through that guy's kitchen, that video was from 2010. Just 5 years after YouTube was created. This is shocking, but it really shouldn't be now that I think about it, because even the president of Mexico himself has tried to pass off these elves and mystical creatures as legitimate. Alright, cut the bullshit. Let's go ahead and watch some of these Duende videos and see if I can be converted into a believer. Spoilers, I was. How's it going? Welcome to King Exbee's Duende Call Center, sponsored by Scott the Waz and Stolen Ideas. Here at King Exbee's Duendes Emporium, we're all dedicated to two things: funky lighting and proving that Duendes exist. Now, at this point, we'll take some calls from our studio audience. Within these calls, people will be recounting their personal experiences with Duendes, and we'll see if we can get them out there for the general public to know about it, because god damn it, the world needs to know about the existence of these nasty little creatures.
Happened in my backyard, right? We were playing Secret Tickle Time. And what happened was that essentially we saw this weird, almost garden gnome looking figure stare at us. And we were like, whatever, it's just a fucking garden gnome, I guess, right? And so, you know, once Secret Tickle Time was over, I went to go put my clothes back on. And then this garden gnome came up, grabbed me by the legs, and dragged me. And you know the gooch region, right, of your body? It just started scratching me there, and I was just like, what are you doing? Please. And it just kept on doing it. Next thing you know, I woke up in my front yard, and I was in a suit and tie. I don't even know what the hell happened. And I don't know. I ended up just passing out, I guess. And so I wore that suit and tie, and I went to go on my merry way, just finding out what happened in my backyard. And I see that same garden gnome. Or I thought it was the same garden gnome, but it wasn't. It was a different guy. Or a different gnome, I should rather say. And I was like, that's it. So I kick it, but it shatters with porcelain. And it was just a regular garden gnome. And so I'm like, what the fuck happened? And that's how it went. I don't know what happened to this day. I'm still wearing the suit. I never took off the suit.
Well, sir, I can't tell you what secret tickle time is, but I can tell you that nasty little duende you encountered was most certainly real. There are 3 things that duendes are infamous for. It's crawling around in the gooch region, evading taxes, and putting on suits on people when they least expect it. So we're going to start this video off with the duende sightings. These are people who are willing to go that extra mile and actually record the duendes that they find. I use the term extra mile very loosely, because a lot of the effort that's put into videos like these is...
Can you open the door, please? Yeah, open the door.
Non-existent. Okay, so ignoring the 2009 camera quality, this shit has been around for a while, guys, I'm telling you. This is the most clear shot that we get of this guy. Look at him, he's so small! I don't care if he's a magical little elf that can curse all your bloodline. One stomp and all that shit's out the window. Also, what are you yelling for? He's done nothing to you. Oh, he politely knocked on your door and ruined your DDR combo. Boo-hoo! This one I don't even have to watch, because just the title alone makes me happy. 9 scariest duende encounters caught on tape. Alright. So one thing I just never understood about whenever people find these creatures like aliens or whatever, one thing I always ask is just like, why do they look exactly as we have depicted them in media? Like, I feel like if we actually found a real gnome or fucking alien, it would look hideous and also nothing like what we've depicted beforehand. Like, genuinely, what are the chances that gnomes and trolls and shit wear pointy red hats? Alright, again, we got that old school potato quality, but if we go ahead and we zoom in and enhance, we notice that that is not a duende. That's fucking Super Mario!
Alright, so it was like a really weird experience. I was just chilling in my backyard one night, and out of nowhere I just see the bushes start moving, and I couldn't really, it looked like a small like an Oompa Loompa. It was so it was so weird. I don't know, I sort of ignored it because I thought it was a bunny, and then out of nowhere, it comes up to me, it runs towards me, and it tries groping my leg, it almost touched my inner thigh. It was really, really weird. I'm traumatized. I don't know what it was.
Now, consistency is the key in making sure a story is true. Now, as you can tell, both of these instances have encountered some sort of a duende touch. Perhaps they're making contact with human specimen because they want to be one day, or absorb all of their power so that duendes can one day rule the earth. Terrifying things to think about, I know. The comments are all super reinforcing too. Most of these read like, I honestly believe that these creatures do exist in Mexico and Argentina, but nobody is putting together the money to go to these places and do a professional investigation with professional filming equipment. It needs to be done because clearly there's something going on there with the locals seeing too many of these creatures. I've seen tons of duende videos on YouTube and they all seem to show... Couple, I even hear the creatures giving out grunting noises that sound like nothing I've heard before, but the uploaders end up running away and have poor quality cameras. These beings need to be These beings need to be captured in higher quality. However, for the record, the video at 3:05 is fake because you can see the arm holding the creature, hence why the camera is shaking around. Mr. YouTube commenter, do you maybe think that if one of them is fake, then all of them can be fake? This reminds me of the time I encountered one. I was playing with my cousins with the soccer ball outside our aunt's house. It was around 10 at the time, so it was already dark out. We were kicking the ball around, and I remember one of my cousins kicked the ball too hard, and it ended up rolling down these stone stairs that led to a vacant house. I remember the ball fell beside a bush, and at the time, our cousin's dog was with us. One of my two cousins went to retrieve the ball. As she was descending the stairs, I saw a little humanoid creature with no clothing jump out of nowhere and run into the bushes, and the dog began chasing after it. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Commenter, that duende that you guys encountered in the action needs to be arrested for indecent exposure. Watching kids play soccer while naked. You disgust me.
Oh, about a couple weeks ago, I was taking a shit, right? The largest I'd ever smelled. It was so crazy. Hours later, though, I got up to flush, but when I looked down, there was nothing there. So I'm like confused, and I turn around and look in the toilet, and there's no poop either. So I'm super fucking confused. I leave without washing my hands, and I go to sleep. But before I went to sleep, my stomach started hurting. I needed to go back to the restroom, but I was just so fucking tired, right? It was a long day. So, after, falling asleep, I wake up, but I wasn't in my room. I was in like this long red-ass hallway, right? And it was warm and the walls were squishy and shit. It was nasty. So I started walking, and then the walls were moving. They were fucking moving, and I fell into this nasty, warm, like yellow-colored water, right? And then I look up, and there's this dude with his huge penis, ass, and balls. And I woke up, right? Because obviously a fucking dream. And then my closet opens. I can't even react. I can't even get out of bed. There's a green fuck, this small green fuck named Jacob. Fucking Jacob. Before I can even react, he jumps on me screaming the words, "You're only the shit because I digested you." I actually have a nightstand though, and it has my shotguns. I utilize my double pump technique, and I kill the tiny bastard with my Fortnite.
Sir, I don't think that you encountered the duende. I think you encountered the physical embodiment of J. Cole. It's so funny to me because most of these duende videos, they only work in a vacuum, and even then, they barely work. Like, ooh, this duende is moving its legs all by itself. That is if you ignore the existence of wind, the existence of wind-up dolls, the question of why this guy was even recording in the first place. Now, as I said, duendes are folklore creatures, so it's not just these duende sighting videos that's keeping the duende dream alive, it's also duende stories being told that are also, for some reason, passed off as real. I have no clue why people are so adamant of proving the existence of specifically duendes, but you know what? Keep the dream alive, because if it means we get videos like this, I am all for it.
Mexican urban legend about duendes. There's this story. It took place in Michoacan. There was this musician, right? He was with his band or whatever. They were playing, right? He ended up going home, but he had to go through a little shortcut. So he would go into the wood. And he saw these duendes dancing. And they looked at him and they saw him and they were like, yo, you, come. Play for us and we'll give you a bunch of golds. Because they saw that he had an instrument on him. He's like, I bet, whatever. He started playing. When they finished, they gave him the gold. He was going back to his house. He knocked on the door and his wife literally looked at him like, what the f***? Like in shock. You look different? She was like, yo, I thought you were dead. You've been gone for so long. Where have you been? Where have you been all these years? She had kids with his best.
The single frame of this man's reaction, oh man, that's gold. Also, the dude in that story got absolutely screwed over. Like, his best friend is fucking his wife, and then he got scammed by a bunch of 3-foot fucks. A real duende caught in 4K on camera. Guys, you don't need to say in 4K on camera. When you say 4K, it already implies that the video is being caught on a camera. Whatever.
I don't know if you've seen this one video.
Yeah.
It's like the duende knew the camera was on.
No way.
So guy picked up like a little duende.
Yeah.
And like I guess it was a doll. And it started moving its feet, but when the other guy panned the camera to it, you can see it get stiff.
No,
So-
it's like Toy Story?
Yeah, so it's like Toy Story.
Okay, so the last podcast we looked at was definitely
And then they're like, what gold? Those are a bunch of pests.
less than stellar, but it was definitely not scripted. This podcast is definitely scripted. I know we already looked at the video that they were watching, but I just need to say that they completely interpret this video incorrect. Like, there's no pan. This guy is recording on his own. You can very much tell that this camera is like mounted to something and that he's alone. There's no pan whatsoever.
No, the feet. Look at the feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bottom.
And then
The
look,
doll
right
wasn't
after
even
it, like, it
moving
starts thing.
anymore.
Have you seen these mounds of soil in your backyard? A small creature might be living in it, and whatever you do, don't bother it, or you might have a really bad time. The creature that lives here is called a duende, which is said to put either good or bad fortune to people, depending on how you treat their home. While the duende is not completely good or evil, when enraged, they are said to have a taste for human bowels, specifically that of children.
Jesus fucking Christ. Between the bowel eating and watching those kids play soccer naked, duendes are really building a reputation of being just the creepiest little fuckers alive. Like Jared Fogle, but tiny and magical. Might need a duende Chris Hansen on the case. This is so fucking stupid.
So I was in downtown Mexico, and obviously there's a lot of people there, right? It was downtown. But there was this alleyway that I saw that nobody was there. And I walked down it because I was curious. I was like, this looks kind of nice. And I walked down it, and then all of a sudden I noticed that everything was quiet. But then I hear this little laughing noise. And I'm like, wait, but like, didn't it just go quiet all of a sudden? And I turn around, and I see it. A little green little thing. The most terrifying thing ever. I screamed at the top of my lungs, and I run away screaming like a little girl.
Pussy. Well, that's all the time we got for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed all of these people's very true and very tragic stories. Remember to stay safe, because at any point, duendes can come into your room and eat your ass. I love shit like this. Even if you don't believe the stories like myself, it's still fun to watch and just try and see these people convince everybody that they're not lying to them. But in short, what did we learn about duendes? They're sick perverts that need to be in jail. That's all for this Halloween special. I know it's kind of short and it's not super in-depth. This is just meant to be a funny haha video. I wanted to do a little bonus thing today. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I barely use Instagram, but I do use Twitter, so if you want to follow me on there, go ahead for it. Sub to my second channel, Exbee's Dumpster, and don't let duendes eat your ass. But anyway, that's all. Ghoul, fuck yourself. No. Alright, see you guys
These must